everyone, and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm bringing you a mixed media mashup video. Now, my patrons are probably doing a double take because this is actually a video series that I have been doing on my Patreon page for quite some time now. And essentially what it is that whenever I am working on something, something that I can't turn into like a full-fledged video, or of course my work sessions these days are often in very short increments of time. I don't really have full work days very often. So when I come into my studio to work on something, I will just turn my camera on while I'm working on whatever it is that I'm working on and just sort of capture it. And I found that over the course of a month or so, I end up with a really interesting collection of video snippets, I guess you could say, little snippets of all the different things that I had kind of been working on. Again, that couldn't be kind of its own video. So I have turned this into a series. Again, it's called Mixed Media Mashup, and it's just like a fun little collection of stuff that I'm working on. You don't really see things from start to finish, but you usually see an interesting array of things that I'm working on. Sometimes they're fun, sort of personal things. And in this particular video, you're getting a real mixed mash of stuff. Currently, you're watching me work on the Chariot card, which is a part of my tarot project. It's part of my tarot project. This is one of the cards that I'm currently working on. I actually had filmed this prior to filming the kind of documentary style tarot series that I am working on here for the channel. The first episode is up currently, and I'm right now filming the second one. So really any tarot work you're going to see moving forward is going to be in that sort of style of videos for that particular series. But here I was just working on it. Just working on the background, those little sand dollars, and I was creating the little hermit guy. And I think you would have even maybe seen the hermit in a previous vlog maybe here on the channel. I'm not entirely sure. The tarot cards are really a project that I just dip in and out of because it can be incredibly time consuming, and so many of it is like little pieces at a time. Whether it's just like illustrating a main component, building up a background, there's a lot of moving pieces to that project. So it lends itself well to a mixed media mashup video. So that's kind of why that footage made the cut here, literally as I'm cutting. By the way, these miniature Tim Holtz scissors that I'm using right here was like one of my best purchases in 2021. It is so handy having a tiny pair of scissors. I did not realize it until I actually got my hands on some. I will also say, this is voiceover Bun talking to you. This is all older footage that I'm talking over. I'm currently sick. I have been dealing with a head cold, and it's been so annoying. It's like just been the head cold from hell. I've had this head cold for like over a week, and I just cannot seem to kick it. So you're getting like head cold voice, which I know some people like the sound of sick voice because it's like kind of raspy, like radio voice, I guess. But I don't know. For me, it's just annoying at this point. And it's like I've been putting off doing voiceovers on videos because of the way that I sound. And I'm like, I can't keep sitting on this footage forever, especially this stuff where it's just like so fun. It's a really fun amalgamation of video footage here. And again, my patrons are doing a double take because this is a series that I typically do over on Patreon. And a lot of that is because sometimes it ends up being some interesting kind of personal work, stuff that's in my planner journal or stuff that's in my 5-year. And I think there might even be some planner footage in this. I can't remember now that I'm coming back and doing the voiceover. I don't know, but there ends up being usually some personal work that I don't want on YouTube. And I think it's just an interesting way to kind of capture what it is that I'm working on and what it is that I'm into. A lot of this footage is right from the start of January, like end of December into January. So it's always interesting. I film stuff usually over like a 2 to 3 week period, but it really ends up capturing kind of what I'm into. Certainly this watercolor technique that I'm doing here, and I'm using a few different types of watercolors. You can tell I have my Gansai Tambi watercolors up over there, and then I have a really fun sample palette that someone had sent me full of all sorts of different colors, from Daniel Smith colors to there's a whole arrangement of colors in there. But I've gotten into this thing where I'm creating this kind of like tie-dye watercolor look thing. You're going to see that a lot, especially in the next YouTube video that I'm also working on, where I'm working on a little canvas. Actually, I am currently editing that once I get this video done. But you'll see that I'm kind of hot on this tie-dye sherbet watercolor thing. I don't know what it is, guys, but I am just reaching for vibrant, bright colors. And I think part of that is being with a toddler most of the time and being a stay-at-home mom. I am around bright colors. His toys are bright colors, his clothing, his own color choices when he goes to color or we're making art together. You know, I'm grabbing these bright colored things, and I think that that's seeping over into my illustrative work, even into some of my art journaling, to be honest. I'm calling it my color renaissance, because I am normally a darker toned. I mean, I can't really say that either, because people always ask me too, like, do you have a color palette? What's your go-to color palette? And I really don't think I have one, because when you look at my body of work, it's a huge range, a really wide range. And I never use the same set of colors, whether it's in illustrations or in art journaling. I always am grabbing a lot of different things, but I think the unifying element typically is black, especially with my art journaling, is that even if I have a lot of crazy colors going on, I will still then use like big swatches of black, or I will deepen everything with sort of like stained colors, like darker hues of stains. So you have that like really crazy contrast. And I think that's what gives my work that like creepy, cute sort of vibe. But right now I feel like I'm just in pure color mode. The brighter, the better. I'm grabbing neons. I'm grabbing really crazy bright watercolors. I'm just having a good time. And I think that that's just, I'm embracing it because it's just kind of new for me in my work. And I'm just really, really enjoying it. Now, what you're seeing here are some Monsters, Inc. sketches. These were a couple of different things that I was referencing from Disney and from some things that I'd found on Pinterest. And this was purely for a personal project. So here I was talking about how, you know, I oftentimes will save the footage of these mixed media mashup stuff because it ends up being kind of personal, and that's why it lives on Patreon. Here is one of those personal project examples. I, this year, decided for Christmas I was going to go overboard. I was going to go full send crazy town with Christmas decorations and my house and all this stuff. It was the first time we were going to be hosting Christmas Eve. But the biggest thing is my son. I have a 2-year-old, and he's at a really fun age where, Christmas magic and decorations and all those things is like just really, really special. So even though I'm not the biggest Christmas fan, even the fact that I'm talking about Christmas decorations and all that I went overboard for Christmas is very out of character for me. But I wanted to make it special and magical and memorable for my son. So that is where I'm having a grand old time, and one of which was creating decorations for our front yard. We live in a little town that takes Christmas very, very seriously. Like, the decorations in my neighborhood is absolutely insane. And I wanted to create giant wood cutouts for our front yard and do a whole Monsters, Inc. theme. I did that, again, for my 2-year-old. He is really into Monsters, Inc. He loves Monsters, Inc. He's still into Monsters, Inc. I mean, I thought it was going to be like a 30-day phase, which is usually how it goes with toddlers, but he is still hot on Monsters, Inc. Like, his little Monsters, Inc. figures are his favorite things. He loves the movie. The TV show, oh my God. If you guys have seen Monsters at Work, it is so cute. It's on Disney Plus. It, even just as an adult, I really enjoy it. It's so cute. The characters in that little show are adorable, but Mike and Sully are still in it. Anyways, I'm on a tangent. These sketches are from when I was planning our cutouts, when I was creating, how they were going to look, the different characters for the front lawn. And once I had the rough sketches, then I made those sketches big on huge pieces of wood that then my dad helped me like die cut with a saw, and then I painted and waterproofed and then staked them into our front yard. It turned out really great. I obviously can't show final pictures of that because it was in my front yard, but I did post some pictures of it on my Instagram, so I will put a link down below if you want to see what the big final cutouts look like. They were roughly based on those sketches. Actually, a couple of those sketches I didn't even actually move forward with, but I liked the way that they looked in my sketchbook, so I decided to go back and color them in. So that's what that footage is me just having fun and going back and coloring them in. It makes for a really great like warm up of your hand just to have unfinished things to go back and loosely color in. And that particular sketchbook was in my off-camera crinkle sketchbook is what I call. I'm doing air quotes as I do that right now, as I say that right now. It's my very like messy trash sketchbook. Here I'm working in my planner journal. And this is something, again, that also usually does not see the light of day on YouTube because it tends to be more personal. But that was a couple of little pages there where I was filling up my last few days of December. I don't do daily pages in my Hobonichi, but I do, I do a whole mix mosh of things in there. My little Hobonichi is my junk journal, my scrapbook, my planner, my to-do list, my idea place. I dump everything into it. So those were just like a couple little snippets of me trying to fill up my last few pages that I had there. I'm happy to report that I have completed my 2021 Hobonichi. It was the Avec, so it's 2 books. They are chunky as ever, and I'm really happy about that. I have full flip-through tours of those on my Patreon if that's something that you're interested in. That's coming in February. I have a lot of flip-through tours of my personal journals on Patreon, so that is the best place to find those. Here I'm working in that off-camera crinkle sketchbook of mine where I do all sorts of random things. It's usually my place where I create just quick sketches and really fast ideas and messy swatches of stuff. It's just where it tends to be my starting place, I think is the best way to say it. And these were just some like little bat demon girls. I don't know what these are, to be honest with you. I sketched them and I liked the way they looked. And then I just kind of let them live on the paper for a bit until I found the right medium, the perfect medium that I wanted to use. And these are the Pentel Sign Brush pens. Sign brush pens? I don't have one by me. I think they're sign brush pens, I think is what they're called. I've had one random one in my stash of pens for years, and it was a purple color, so I didn't use it very often. And then at the end of last year when I made my end of year art supply purchases, I bought myself a pack of these. And I don't know if I included that in my last art supply haul. I might have, I might not. I don't entirely remember. But I got a big old set. I got the full set that has, 2 blacks, a full range of colors, this interesting mustard color that you see me using here that I actually really, really loved. These are a good time, let me tell you. If you are trying to get that like painted ink sort of look, this is the pen to do that with. It's really, really fine. It has a very fine point, but it is a flexible tip on it. So it does feel like you're using a paintbrush. The only downside of these is that they are water soluble. So it will be very specific things that I'm using these pens on because I'm not going to get that permanent vibe that I do with my acrylic ink and brush combo, which is what I usually prefer because I like the ability to be able to go back over and add things, or if I wanted to add a wash or whatever it was. So again, this is the perfect place to come back and finish up these random sketches and add outlines, but also play with these pens at the same time. I haven't delved much into the other colors as far as swatching or even kind of playing around with coming at it with a water brush. I think it could be kind of interesting to play with these. If that's something that you want to see, let me know down in the comments, and I can do kind of a art with me unboxing of these pens and just kind of play around and explore with them a little bit and see what kind of creative trouble I can get into. And let me tell you, I've just been making so much stuff lately, you guys. I don't know what it is. I'm just in a really good place creatively, bouncing between a lot of different things, a lot of different books. I feel like I'm starting the new year in just a really good creative place of just kind of following. This is, as James would say, I am following my creative bliss. I am working on whatever I feel like working on. And to be honest, I think a big part of that is that I've let go of this pressure that I keep putting on myself that I have to just create online classes. And I think that's been part of my struggle for the past couple of years, is that a part of my business, pre-Patreon, bigger shop updates, a lot of my business was based on online classes, and it just put such a pressure on me, and it took away from being able to just do other things creatively, because I had to just literally put everything that I was doing on hold to create an online class. And part of that is my own perfectionism, that I just am really particular about how I create those classes and how much time goes into them. But this year, going into this year in particular, I've let that go. If an online class comes about because I feel passionate about it and I want to put the time into that, then I will. But I'm only doing it if I feel like I want to create it. It's not because financially it's something that I have to do to keep my business going. I've gotten to such a place with my online shop, my Etsy shop, and with Patreon. Again, shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much. That is where I'm putting my, instructional, tutorial, inspirational kind of videos. I'm putting that time that I would be spending into creating an online class, I'm putting that into making content both here on YouTube, because now I'm on a mission to do a video a week, and I'm doing it. It's happening. And I've just let go of this idea that I have to save techniques and ideas and all these things for online classes. And I'm having fun with it, both in just doing art that I want to do and making fun YouTube videos, starting projects and trying to turn them into YouTube video series, having fun on Patreon and just making art that I want to do and turning them into videos. And I'm just really, really enjoying it. So I think that's a big part of what's fueling my creativity, is just this openness that I've given myself, and I've dropped the pressure, and I'm just making what I want to make. And if I can turn it into a video, cool. And it will either end up here on the channel or on Patreon. And that's the world that I'm living in. And I'm really quite happy with it. Now, before I started sketching this Oogie Boogie, what I was working on previously in my off-camera crinkle, which is the Moleskine plain notebook paper that is in my Amazon favorites if you want to check that out. It's, again, my trashy sketchbook. I was working on filling in gingerbread house sketches, because every year we build a gingerbread house from scratch. So I always create sketches, and then I try to figure out kind of how many pieces I need to make and what the house template is going to be. So that's what that was. It was a combination of my son just scribbling in my sketchbook, which I let him do often because sometimes I paint and do things on top of it, as well as coming back and filling in drawings that I had created for our gingerbread house, which ended up being Zero's doghouse. We did kind of a lot of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff mixed in with the Monsters, Inc. stuff. My son is my son. He loves spooky things, and it's really fun to kind of relive a lot of these movies and things with him. It's a good time. But here's also my 5-year. Again, this never sees the light of day of YouTube. This is my 5-year journal. I was backtracking, catching up on pages. I'm happy to report I did catch up, but we had gone to Oogie Boogie Bash, so that's what I am doodling up here. Anywho, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little mixed media mashup video. Again, I don't know if this will come to YouTube again. This is typically something I do for Patreon, but I thought I would mix it up, literally, and give you guys one here on YouTube just so you could see kind of what it's all about. Plus, I've just had a ton of footage. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.